Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. Let's welcome back our powerhouse panel. We've got attorney, Republican strategist, and contributor for Turning Point USA, Aaron Elmore, with us. Conservative writer and producer David Leatherwood is joining us in studio. National Advisory Board member for Project 21, Christopher Arps, is here, and our special guest host for the week, the former Director of National Intelligence, Rick Grinnell, back with us as well. I want to play a soundbite from Kamala Harris. She was not talking about going to the border yesterday. She was talking about the Capitol insurrection, as she calls it. Yesterday, the first person was formally charged that entered the Capitol back on January 6th. Take a listen to what the Vice President had to say.
And when we look in particular at the challenges, at the attempts to attack our democracy, and most recently one of the most vivid, outrageous examples being January 6th, we know that our democracy is under attack in many ways, and that we must preserve the promises of a democracy, including appreciating that the right to vote is fundamental to that democracy.
Kelly Sadler from the Washington Times is not with us, so I'm going to go to David Leatherwood, who's filling in her spot in studio. David, nice to have you with us. I'd like to go to you first on this. Yesterday, Anna Morgan Lloyd, really just a woman in her 40s, she pled guilty to a single charge of illegally demonstrating at the Capitol. She was fined $500. She was given 120 hours of community service. There have been over 500 arrests. So, you know that Merrick Garland is going to throw the book at every single one of these people. My question, what about, and we're now 1 year removed from the worst of the violence last summer, those terrible riots that we saw throughout the country, what about all of those rioters? Everybody, people lost their lives, people lost their businesses, and we don't hear anything about it.
Yeah, and funny that you mentioned that, because Kamala Harris was tweeting out support for a bail fund for those exact same rioters, but now she's on her soapbox lecturing us about January 6th. I mean, give me a break. None of these, I mean, these protesters and these rioters that were burning down buildings and people died in the streets are still running free, and they're actually still doing it. And she's, stuck on January 6th. I mean, honestly, it's insulting.
All right, I want to play a soundbite here. This is Joe Biden yesterday talking about his new crime initiative. He wants to get guns off the streets, illegal guns. And he says that the crime that we're seeing right now, it doesn't matter where you're watching us, because the crime is affecting every city in the country right now. It doesn't matter where you are, but he says it's just a result of the heat and the fact that it's now officially summer. Take a listen.
An idle mind is a devil's workshop. Well, school's out for the summer. Teenagers are in tough neighborhoods. Who are in tough neighborhoods? No jobs, more trouble. We know summer jobs, training, and recreation for young people work. They help make sure young people pick up a paycheck instead of a pistol.
Bored.
What is happening, Aaron, to you on that? I mean, they also, it seems like they want to refund the police now, because apparently all the money from that COVID bill can now be used to hire police officers and train them and get more cops on the street again.
I mean, first of all, I'm so happy to see David Leatherwood. Welcome to the panel. We love seeing your smiling face. But honestly, there's a famous movie that said, "Am I taking crazy pills?" And when you hear Joe Biden talk, I know that's not that professional to say, it's the professional truth. And when he speaks, it is not grounded in any sort of statistical reality. First of all, in these urban communities, these children have not been back to school. The teachers union had kept these kids out of school for over a year, and they still did not return in major cities like Philadelphia and Chicago. So this has nothing to do with school. This has nothing to do with heat. In big cities like Philadelphia, Seattle, New York, there was rioting over the winter. There was looting over the winter. The season doesn't matter. What matters is defunding the police, district attorneys who are soft on crime, mayors who are not standing up for their cities and for their people and stopping these terrible movements, whether it is to defund the police or soft on crime or no bail. We need to reform these things and take our cities back. And by the way, the data does not lie. Crime is up in every major city. And who runs every major city? Democrats. You don't see these problems in Florida, which is run by Republicans.
Well, it is fascinating. So the metric, Chris, and I know you're out there in St. Louis, and that city's been another one of these cities that it's been affected by. The numbers are through the roof. We haven't seen numbers like this in 50 years in many of these cities. They are typically Democrat-run, so the mayor is a Democrat of these cities where crime is at its worst. The two glaring examples right now are obviously New York and Chicago, but this is coast to coast.
It is, and they are Democratic mayors, but you also have to add to the mix that these are also Democratic prosecutors that are not that are soft on crime. We have a George Soros-funded prosecutor here in St. Louis, who now we have a progressive mayor that wants to cut the budget for the police, and we see crime skyrocketing. It's insulting that the Democrats want to blame an inanimate object for all of the gun violence when it's the thugs and the criminals that are creating the crime. And I wish we could have the old Joe Biden back from 1994 that saw the root of the problem is not guns, but people.
David, you're a conservative writer, producer, also from the state of Florida. A poll the other day, although not a scientific poll, it had Ron DeSantis beating President Trump in 2024. The margins were extremely tight. I think it was 73 to 71% or something like that. We are a long way off from 2024, but do you think that Ron DeSantis, and I was down in Florida before I got here, do you think that he's a serious contender for 2024? This is one of your tweets that you put out a day ago. As a Floridian, I'm grateful for Ron DeSantis for handling COVID like a pro. Florida is the best state to live in the entire country right now. I probably have to agree with you on that, by the way.
Yeah, so being from Florida, this is something that we talk about all the time. It's a very hot topic. Everybody loves Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is America's governor. That being said, we want to keep him as our governor, and we need him there in 2022. If it's not him, who's it going to be? That being said, everybody wants him to be president too. So how does that work out? I mean, right now you have Ron DeSantis sending police officers to the border from Florida to help support the border crisis, and we can't even get Kamala Harris to go. I mean, thank God now she finally is. Is he going to run? I mean, he just won a straw poll in Florida, and he actually beat Trump, and we love Trump too. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
You know what I loved, by the way, David, about that, the governor sending those troops to the border? He didn't order them, which he could have done. He didn't order them. He asked them, the leaders of the platoons, and he went and asked them individually what their thought was on going to the border, and they said, absolutely, and they volunteered. So he could have ordered them, but they volunteered, and that I thought that spoke to basically how Floridians view everything else right now. Aaron, I know you're down there. You're a new Florida resident officially. Ron DeSantis, is there a knock on him? Because we're so far out right now. I mean, I've been in a room where he's been interviewed. He doesn't blow me away with charisma in person. If there were a knock on him, what is it?
Well, I mean, his charisma isn't what is important about him. It's his common sense. All of these other leaders look at what's in the headlines and then decide what to do. Check the polls and they say, uh-oh, voter ID seems to be popular. Yeah, I'm for that. DeSantis just does what feels right. And by the way, his super wife, who used to be like you, Rob, a journalist on television. I think she has those great talking points. She knows exactly how to handle the media. She's the savvy one, the brains behind the operation. I also have a little nugget for you. If DeSantis decided to go to the big show and run, you know who we could slide in there, who would be an awesome powerhouse for Florida? Byron Donalds. He is amazing from the Naples area. He's doing so well in the House of Representatives. I would feel that he would be another great leader for the state of Florida. We need to keep Florida free and safe. And this is my empty bookshelves because I am leaving Philadelphia, and this is my last day here in Philadelphia to become an official Florida resident.
Oh, wow.
Money goes where it's treated well. Freedom goes where it's treated well. Crime does not go where they are tough on crime. So goodbye, Philadelphia. Hello, Florida for me.
So not Andrew Gilliam.
No, I think he's otherwise occupied.
Yes, Andrew Gilliam. Boy, that was how the mighty have fallen. Former mayor of, I believe, Tallahassee. Is that right, David?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. He just, what a fall from grace. And Ron DeSantis.
And he was George Soros funded as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Ron DeSantis also never lost an election. Rick, do you have any intel on what the former president might think about some of these as the field starts to take shape, which it is? It started to take shape January 21st.
Look, my opinion is that Donald Trump is still the most popular person in the party. If he wants to run, he'll get the nomination easily, and we will look to January of 23. I know President Trump is totally focused on 22, winning back the House and the Senate, and will make a decision in January 23. I know that because he told me that.
How about that for intel right there? Fascinating, too. Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, and Ron DeSantis all could be running in 2024. Panel, we'll see you again top of the hour. Looking forward to that.